We are back once again right here on the channel, guys, for another video. And today, I should say tonight, because I'm actually recording this at night time, 10 p.m. So we're going to be talking about the results of the Superstar Shakeup. Now, I know on my Raw and Smackdown reviews, I did say who were going to be on the brands in my Raw and Smackdown reviews by listing out all the people that were drafted. But I didn't really share my opinions on these draft picks. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going through all the names from the Raw and Smackdown superstars that were shooken up or drafted, with whatever you prefer. And I'm just going to talk about each individual one and see if it's a good trade or if it's a bad trade. So let's run them down, shall we? We're going to go from top to bottom. So we're going to be starting with the first man that was drafted to Monday Night Raw, and that is The Miz. This guy has been traded to Raw and SmackDown every year. It seems like he can't really find a home. It seems like none of the brands that he's on, he doesn't seem to be on a brand for at least more than a year. But now I found out why they moved The Miz to Monday Night Raw, which is why I'm thinking they'll probably be keeping him on Monday Night Raw in the near future, is apparently because Miz and Mrs., his little reality show with Maurice, apparently that is on the USA Network. And Monday Night Raw is on the USA Network, so they thought it made sense to have Miz be on Raw, so then that way he can promote Miz and Mrs. Because SmackDown, Fox Sports, SmackDown is going to be going to Fox Sports in October, so yeah, it would feel weird for him to promote something on the USA that is not promote something on the USA Network that is on Fox, basically. So, as for The Miz, I think he would make a good challenger for the United States Championship. I think he'd be a good challenger for the United States Championship for Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe is being reported. It's been reported that Samoa Joe will be making the jump to Monday Night Raw with the United States Championship, because Finn Balor is on SmackDown with the United States Championship. Finn Balor is on SmackDown with the Intercontinental Championship. What am I doing? Ugh, all over the place already. So yeah, Samoa Joe is going to be making the jump to Raw with his United States Championship, because Balor is on SmackDown with the IC title. So that makes sense. Joe was meant to be on Raw, but he got ill. He fell sick to an illness, and they had to scrap it. So I think The Miz would make a good United States champion. He hasn't won the belt since 2010, if my memory serves me correctly. So yeah, Andrade and Zelina Vega was drafted to Monday Night Raw. I'm okay with this. I did look at Zelina and Andrade as SmackDown people. I did think they would definitely fit it a lot better on the blue brand, but here they are on Raw, and honestly, I hope they do well, both of them, because I want to see Zelina Vega wrestle a little more. And Andrade, I've been hearing stories. This is being reported as well. I have been hearing stories that Andrade could be that WWE could be planning a Mexican stable for Andrade, where it's going to be him, Andrade, Zelina Vega, Rey Mysterio, and Sin Cara. Now I know Sin Cara wasn't listed on the Raw brand, and when he makes the jump to Monday Night Raw, everybody's going to be like, oh well, he was on SmackDown, why is he on Raw? It's just going to be that whole shebang again. It's just going to be that whole damn shebang again. And if I were WWE, I wouldn't bother with Sin Cara. Just pick someone from the Lucha House Party. Just pick someone from just pick out of Kalisto, Gran Metalik, and Lince Dorado. Just pick out of them. Just pluck one of them out of the Lucha House Party and put them in that stable. There's no reason to send Sin Cara over to Raw. Sure, it would give Sin Cara finally a decent push, and also it kind of makes sense as well. And I'll also say it does make sense because Sin Cara did say that Andrade was his friend, and Rey Mysterio and Andrade, you know, they would have mutual respect for each other. But we'll just have to wait and see if that is the case. But if that is the big plan for WWE, I could definitely see a big bright future for Andrade and this new stable. Ricochet and Aleister Black. Joining Ricochet and Aleister Black. I could, I've been hearing a lot of people continuously complain about how they're a tag team. Yes, I get it. I understand that. But you want to make the tag team division great. I think these two would make a fine tag team for the time being. You could easily, maybe give them a little small run with the Raw Tag Team Championships. But other than that, that's about it. And I think they would make, and Ricochet and Aleister Black would make good mid-carders and upper mid-carders, main eventers as well. So, I think WWE will eventually break them up. I think they might just want to give them maybe a title run with the Raw Tag Team Championships and eventually branch them out on their own. We'll just have to wait and see. Everybody's new favorite tag team, the Viking Experience, is a part of the Raw roster. Now, I know I hate the name too. The Viking Experience, I do hate that name for Hanson and Rowe. Oh, sorry, they're not called Hanson and Rowe. Ivar and Eric. My apologies. It's just a name. I don't really see it. To be honest with you, Hanson and Rowe, they're very talented guys. They're a great tag team. It's just a darn name change. I understand why people are upset because they're not called the War Raiders. Apparently the reason why is because Vince doesn't like the word war on a PG show. And no, that is not dumb on the part of Vince McMahon. It actually makes sense. If the word War Raiders isn't supposed to be on a PG show, then I think you people should respect that. And yes, I know, they could have picked hundreds other names. They could have easily thought of a better name. They could have just called them the Vikings. Or anything like that. But apparently their original name was going to be the Berserkers. That is what I heard. Apparently their original name was going to be the Berserkers. And honestly, that does sound better than the Viking Experience. But at the end of the day, guys, it's just a name change. We're going to get over it eventually. They're a great tag team. Just enjoy their tag team wrestling. Who cares about their name? Just enjoy what they do as a tag team. People will eventually get over it. Unless your name is JD. Rey Mysterio will join Monday Night. He's on Monday Night Raw. This one I just don't care about. I think he should have stayed on Smackdown. But like I said, that Mexican stable with Andrade is apparently why they moved him over. But we'll have to wait and see if that rumor comes true. The Usos to Monday Night Raw. The Usos are now joined the Raw roster. This is a good move. I wish SmackDown got a better tag team. I wish SmackDown at least got a tag team to replace the Usos, like the Revival or something. I wish they did, but they didn't. They got Otis and Tucker. Well, they're a good tag team, but we'll get to SmackDown when we get to it. The Usos, I could potentially see the Usos being the first tag team to probably dethrone Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. If not, it will probably be the Viking Experience. Naomi on Raw. Of course, she's going to be on Raw because Jimmy Uso's on Raw as well. She's married to Jimmy Uso. I guarantee you, if they kept her on SmackDown Live and they moved the Usos over to Monday Night Raw, guarantee you she would have pulled a Sasha Banks and thrown a hissy fit. Because apparently being separated from your loved one is hard to deal with. But Naomi's on Raw. I don't really see Naomi doing much. All I see Naomi doing is... I just see Naomi nothing more than a upgrade for Mickie James. Because Mickie James, you know, Mickie James was always the one that count the lights for the Raw wrestlers at the time. So Naomi is just going to be nothing more than enhancement talent. I just don't see Naomi getting a big push to the Raw Women's Championship. Naomi will definitely get more screen time because Alicia Fox and Dana Brooke barely get any screen time. But I just don't see much. I just don't see much for Naomi. She may get a push, she may not. But I doubt it. I doubt it really, really much. So that's all I see in Naomi's future. She's just going to be enhancement talent on Monday Night Raw. But maybe she'll find a tag team partner. Who knows? To contend for the tag team titles. Eric Young is on Raw without Sanity. I don't get it. I don't know what was wrong with Sanity. Can someone tell me what was wrong with Sanity? I mean, come on, WWE. Is this some kind of joke? Look, I like Eric Young. But the problem here is that all members of Sanity, they're now on their own. They're all on different brands. Well, we don't know where Nikki Cross is going to be. Nikki Cross wasn't drafted. Alexander Wolf's gone to NXT UK now. He's in a new stable with Walter. Killian Dane is on Smackdown. We don't know where Nikki Cross is going. I've heard she could be going to Raw to partner up with Bray Wyatt. Puppet and the Dollhouse. Does that make sense to you guys? But Eric Young on his own, you know, he could be a good mid-carder. He could be a good contender for the United States Championship if they push him. But I just don't see much for Eric Young. Just don't. I want to hope for him. But I just don't see much for him. He could basically be paired in a tag team with someone. Maybe like EC3 or Bobby Roode. You could pair him up with someone. Put him in the tag team division. But I just don't see much happening for Eric Young. I hope WWE has plans for him, but I don't know. But I just don't know. And can WWE please go back to brand exclusive pay-per-views? Please. Can we end the whole? Can we end that, please? If there's one thing I want to talk about, is that can we end the whole every brand is dual branded? Can we go back to brand exclusives, please? That way, at least people like Eric Young will actually get screen time on a pay-per-view. Please? Please, WWE? Can we please go back to brand exclusives? That's all I ask for. Hopefully you listen to me. Next man on this list, on the Raw roster, is EC3. He's another one. I wish he was on Smackdown, to be honest. I wish he was on Smackdown because I think he'd feel more comfortable on SmackDown Live than on Monday Night Raw. Trust me, I'm a big fan of EC3. I'm a big EC3 supporter. I think his gimmick is great. The top 1%. He has a great gimmick. He's got a lot of potential. He's got the look. He's got the charisma. He's got the mic skills. He's got it all. He's the total package. EC3 is the total package. You've got everything you need with this guy. But it sucks that they haven't used him. It sucks that they're not using him to his potential. And it sucks because this guy would make a great mid-carder for the United States Championship. EC3 is great. He is. I'm telling you, if you put him in a storyline with someone, I'm almost positive. I'm very positive he will definitely do well in that role. But it sucks that they're not doing anything with EC3. I'm a big fan of EC3's. I just wish WWE used him to his potential. One man I also hope does well on Monday Night Raw, but I don't see much out of him. And that's going to be Cedric Alexander. Sorry, I keep putting my hand on my nose. It's a bit itchy. You know, again, I apologize for putting my hand on my nose. It's very, very itchy. I'm worried for Cedric Alexander. I actually am. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm actually very worried for him. Because do you guys remember what happened the last time he was on Monday Night Raw? He was in a ridiculous storyline with Alicia Fox. Does anybody even remember that? Anyone? Does anybody remember that? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you remember that feud. I do. It was stupid. And I have a feeling, and I've got a very scary feeling if Vince McMahon sees this guy, he's going to be like, oh, I remember you. You used to be with Alicia Fox. We'll put you and Alicia Fox back together. That's the one thing I worry about, that they're going to put him back with Alicia Fox. Or even worse, they may put him with Dana Brooke or someone. Even worse, they may pair him up with someone else. With as a female. But you know, I wanna hope big for Cedric Alexander. I just don't see much happening for him. He would make a great United States champion. He would. Cedric Alexander would make a great United States champion. I just see him as nothing more than a guy that will just be constantly losing. He may get a couple of wins, but do you want to know what will be even worse? If we're seeing Cedric Alexander jobbing to Jinder Mahal, that would make things even worse. Now, I don't want to think that far ahead and think that bad for Cedric Alexander, but I just don't see much in this guy's future. They probably will pair him back with Alicia Fox for all we know, and he'll be treated as nothing more than a lower card act. I hope not. If he was on SmackDown Live, if he and Buddy Murphy were both traded to SmackDown, I would definitely say Cedric and Ali as a tag team. Can you imagine how great of a tag team Cedric and Mustafa Ali would have been? But because Cedric's on Raw, I do hope the best for him. I do hope the best for him. I really, really do. But I just don't see much in his future. Hopefully they keep him away from Alicia Fox. Hopefully. Lacey Evans, the next one on the list here, and apparently Vince McMahon is very high on Lacey Evans. But if your name is Mandy Rose, you get jack shit. So, yeah, blonde. Yeah, Lacey Evans, blonde, of course. So it seems like Lacey Evans will be one of the big centerpieces of the new women's division. She's challenging for the Raw Women's Championship. I just don't see it. People are saying they're going to merge the titles. I just don't see that happening. Do you want to know why I think merging the titles is a bad decision? Here's why. Some of you people may say, oh, it's great, then we'll get new challenges. This is Vince McMahon we're talking about. Do you know what his women's championship lineup will be? Becky, Lacey, Charlotte, Ronda, and a couple of other people he's a big fan of. Ember Moon won't get a push. You know, Ruby Riott won't get much of anything. This is why it's best to keep the belts separate. Trust me when I tell you this. But merging the belts is a bad decision. Keep them separate. I'm also sure that Becky Lynch will become a full-time member of the Raw roster, because I see her losing the SmackDown Women's Championship first. I see Becky losing that title first, and then she'll become a full-time member on Monday Night Raw. That's just what I think, because SmackDown's got a huge roster already, like they need Becky Lynch. Like they need Becky Lynch on Raw. Like they do. So, like Becky Lynch is needed for SmackDown. So, Becky is needed for Raw, to be quite honest. But yeah, Lacey Evans, I just don't think Lacey's ready. She's just had one match. That was against Natalya. It's Natalya. Not a big deal. So, we'll just have to wait and see what happens with Lacey Evans. I don't see her winning the championship. And, yeah. Lacey Evans will definitely be booked strong in the coming months. Definitely. And she will be wearing that title. She will eventually become champion. But just not yet, though. And finally, the last one on Monday Night Raw is AJ Styles. This is a good move. I'm sad to see him off SmackDown, but he needed this move. He really needed this move. The only reason why I would keep AJ on SmackDown at this point would be Finn Balor, because I would love to see AJ Styles as Intercontinental Champion, but it is what it is. AJ Styles is definitely going to be Universal Champion, but just not now. I think they should keep AJ Styles away from Seth Rollins until August. But the one thing that I'm very worried about is the fact that AJ Styles will just be thrusted into feuds with Baron Corbin and his mid-card of evil. That is the biggest issue. That is my biggest problem. That AJ Styles will most likely be feuding with Baron Corbin and his mid-card of evil, Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. Now, if it's just Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles, I'd be all for that. But with Baron Corbin and his mid-card of evil, I just don't. It's just going to be pretty challenging for us to enjoy AJ Styles on Raw if all he will be doing is probably feuding with Baron Corbin and his mid-card of evil. But hopefully they do get AJ Styles to the Universal Championship when the time comes. So what are my opinions on the Raw roster after the shake-up? Well, with all the picks that Monday Night Raw got in the shake-up, outside of me being worried for Cedric, EC3, and Eric Young, I think it's a good lineup. Outside of that, I just think it's a good lineup. So next we've got SmackDown Live. Let's see. For those who saw SmackDown Live, you would know who they got, but let's run down the list of my thoughts on SmackDown's Superstar Shakeup, who is now part of SmackDown. First is the Intercontinental Champion, Finn Balor. I spoke about him earlier. He is now a part of SmackDown, which is why I think Samoa Joe will join Raw next week. Or should I say next Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. So yeah, I see Samoa Joe joining Raw this coming Tuesday. Or if you're American, Monday. Because I'm Australian, it's Tuesday. But Finn Balor on SmackDown Live, thank goodness. I'm a big fan of this. And because I'm a SmackDown guy, I may sound biased, but that doesn't matter. But that doesn't matter to me. Finn Balor, he definitely needed to get off of Monday Night Raw. He needed to get off that red brand. He so needed to get off it. I feel so happy now that Finn Balor's on SmackDown. He's got the mid-carders that are competing for the Intercontinental Championship. So much big. It's so big. And that's the reason why I think Finn Balor should possibly drop the Intercontinental Championship so he can move up to the WWE Championship rankings, because the mid-card SmackDown has is incredibly big, especially with some of the newer ones that came over, and especially ones like Ali and Killian Dane, and there's like so many great opportunities. There's so much great potential for a lot of the mid-carders, but we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. Just going to have to eventually wait and see what happens. But Finn Balor is a great choice. I'm very happy with it. And SmackDown's women's division definitely got a nice bigger bump. I'll be listing over all the ladies right now. The first one was Ember Moon. Great pick. I'm a big fan of Ember Moon, and she needed to get off of Raw. Same like Finn Balor, she needed to get off of Raw. Ember Moon was doing absolutely jack shit on Monday Night Raw. She had no feuds with anyone. She was just doing nothing. It's a shame, but hopefully they give her a big, strong push on the blue brand. If I was to pick anyone that should dethrone Becky Lynch and take the SmackDown Women's Championship, it's Ember Moon. You could make Ember Moon a heel. You could make her a babyface. SmackDown, I think SmackDown's women's division have a lot of babyfaces, so maybe you could turn Ember Moon heel, but I think she's just so likable. So, but we'll just have to wait and see. So Ember Moon, I'm very happy about that. Bayley now joins SmackDown, which breaks up the Boston Hug Connection tag team with Sasha Banks. Finally! Finally! I'm gonna tell you guys this. I'm a big Sasha Banks fan. I love Sasha Banks, but after what's been going on with her, but I'm not gonna talk about that. But you guys don't understand how much this means to me. To finally have Sasha Banks and Bayley separated from each other. They were like a magnet. Those two were like magnets. You just couldn't get them away from each other. You tried to pull them apart, but they just straight back together like a magnet. It's like you're trying to pull some piece of metal away from a magnet, but the pull is so strong, they just push you straight back into it. I would have definitely preferred Sasha Banks on SmackDown Live over Bayley, but as long as the Boston Hug Connection tag team is no more, and Bayley and Banks are finally away from each other, that's all that matters to me. Great to see Bayley on SmackDown. I think it's a great pick. And we're going to go down a little bit here and talk about the other girls that were brought over. There's 3 more. Mickie James was brought over to SmackDown. Some people think Mickie James isn't really going to do much. Yeah, I will agree with that. But at the same time, Mickie James has only been in feuds either with Alexa or against Alexa. Those are the only times Mickie James was ever used. To put over, to be with Alexa or to put over Alexa. So now that she's away from Alexa Bliss, you know, I'm happy about Boston Hug Connection being no more. Now that Mickie James is finally able to fly on her own without Alexa Bliss being on the same brand as her, maybe Mickie James finally gets that big push that she's been dying for. Maybe not a push to the championship. Maybe she may get more TV time. And finally, and we got Liv Morgan, who was drafted over to SmackDown. She's been separated from the Riot Squad. By the way, apparently Liv Morgan already has new theme music. Apparently it was planned. Apparently WWE planned ahead, and they gave Liv Morgan new music since October. Well, that's just what that's what I heard. People were telling me that they already had new music planned for her since October, so they were planning on breaking her away from the Riot Squad eventually. I have heard the theme song. It's only short. It's only like 30 seconds. It sounds okay, but all I hope for is that this is the Liv Morgan of old. I only hope that this is where they finally turn Liv Morgan into a babyface and finally have her be the Liv Morgan that I actually liked. I really wasn't a big fan of Liv Morgan as a heel. Her as a babyface, I was captivated more with Liv Morgan as a babyface because she had that energy. She was kind of like Carmella as a babyface. I think Liv Morgan really needs to... She definitely needs a repackaging into a babyface, but we'll have to wait and see what goes on with her. Liv Morgan's not really going to be winning a lot of matches, I just don't see her winning a lot of matches. She's not going to be getting any championships around her waist. She's just going to be another random name. She's just going to be another name on the blue brand. I do hope she does well, but SmackDown's women's roster definitely got a big push. And the final woman that was drafted to SmackDown is Kairi Sane. She's in a tag team with Asuka. Don't get me wrong, I like the tag team of Kairi Sane and Asuka. But I think a lot of people would prefer them as single stars. People like to talk about how Ricochet and Aleister Black should be as single stars. I think Kairi and Asuka should be single stars. But I'm not going to complain about this tag team. It was definitely fun while it lasted with the Iconics. They're going to end up losing the tag team titles. My heart will definitely be broken when they lose those belts. It was definitely fun while it lasted. Lars Sullivan and is part of SmackDown Live. This is the thing I didn't get. For some stupid reason, they drafted him to Raw. But then he comes to SmackDown, and then they announce he's officially on the SmackDown brand. Now, the only reason why I could have thought of why is because they kept Braun on Raw. That is the only way it would have made sense. They kept Braun Strowman on Raw, where they honestly should have moved him to SmackDown, but they wanted him to feud with Samoa Joe. So it was either Finn moves to SmackDown or the mid-card belts stay. So they obviously chose with Braun Strowman staying on Raw. So they moved Joe to Raw with the US title. I'm fine with that, I guess, but why would you have Lars appear on Raw? Like, you would think he's a Raw superstar, but then he comes to SmackDown Live and then it is announced that he's on the SmackDown brand. To be honest, I'm actually very happy that Lars Sullivan is on SmackDown, because I think SmackDown would have been best suited for him anyway. He'll definitely be on Raw in the near future, definitely. But I think SmackDown is a good way to start Lars Sullivan off. And honestly, my overall favorite pick is Buddy Murphy joining the SmackDown roster. Oh boy, how excited I am for Buddy Murphy. This guy, he has to be. I don't care what WWE thinks. Buddy Murphy needs to be the first Australian WWE champion. Buddy Murphy has all the potential in the world to even be a WWE champion. I know he won't be WWE champion because Roman Reigns will get the front and center piece. But Buddy has that potential. He has that potential to be the first Australian WWE champion, and that's what I want. But firstly, Finn Balor needs to drop that Intercontinental title to Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy is the one guy I think Finn Balor should drop that title to. Buddy is the best option. Buddy is like the best option to drop that title to. He's so great. There's no reason. He's so great. Because that's the thing with Murphy. He's so great. You just got to put a belt on him. I know he shouldn't be getting a title immediately, but if you build him up, he'll make a great Intercontinental Champion. And eventually in the near future, you can build him up to become WWE Champion. Buddy Murphy is the future for Australian fans. And it makes it, and what makes it great is that SmackDown has the Iconics as well. That the SmackDown Live has the Australians. I only wish Tennille Dashwood was still around. But, whatever. But yeah, Buddy Murphy, overall, my favorite pick on SmackDown Live. Elias was drafted to SmackDown as well. Vince McMahon trolling us that he was the biggest acquisition on SmackDown Live. And then the real true biggest acquisition on SmackDown Live is Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns. This one took me by surprise, but also I shouldn't be surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. That was the other thing. I shouldn't be surprised, but at the same time I was. Because AJ Styles moved to Raw. You would think, okay, if AJ Styles is moving to Raw, then he has to move Roman Reigns to the other brand. But I don't care what people say about Roman Reigns. I'm not Roman's biggest fan either. But Roman Reigns being on SmackDown has possibly got to be the best thing that has ever happened to him. Getting him away from Seth Rollins, getting him away from the Shield, ending the Shield finally for good. I just think it's a good move. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be thinking, oh, Roman Reigns will instantly get a push to the WWE Championship and end Kofi Kingston's reign. I don't think Vince McMahon is going to rush Roman Reigns. I think Vince knows what he's doing. Now, if he does rush Roman Reigns, then yes, that will be Vince's biggest mistake. But with Fox Sports may not tolerate WWE shoving Roman Reigns down our throats. So please, guys, Kofi's got a lot of potential challenges to go through before Roman Reigns. Kofi Kingston may not even be WWE Champion when Roman Reigns becomes the champion. Think about that for a second. And finally, we've got 3 more left on SmackDown. That's Chad Gable. Big fan of this. I actually like Chad Gable on SmackDown more on Raw. It's great to see him on SmackDown, which just breaks up his partnership with Bobby Roode. Honestly, Bobby Roode fits better as a singles competitor, so I'm not really all that upset about it. You could definitely put Chad Gable in a tag team again. Honestly, I don't want him to be in a tag team, but if you really need tag teams, you could put him back with Shelton Benjamin, which does sound like a decent idea. And we've got Otis and Tucker as well, who's joined SmackDown, which are also a great tag team. I don't see Otis and Tucker becoming the champions. I could just see them as a comedy act. Just a little funny comedy act. That's all I see them being. Hopefully they do get a big push to the championships. But not everybody needs to be champion. That's one thing I think people need to understand. Not everyone is going to be champion. So I do hope for Otis and Tucker. I think SmackDown's a great brand for them as well. And finally, guys, the last man to draft over to SmackDown Live is Apollo Crews. I feel the same way about Apollo Crews. I think he's best suited on SmackDown than on Monday Night Raw. Now, as for Chad Gable, you could put Apollo Crews with Chad Gable, create a whole new tag team. Or you could do something that I pitched, something that I would like to see. And that is Apollo Crews and Shelton Benjamin as a tag team. The gold standards. You can make them heels, you can make them faces, whatever. I think the team of Apollo Crews and Shelton Benjamin would be great for SmackDown Live. I do hope Apollo Crews gets a nice push to the Intercontinental Championship. But honestly, I think he would make a good tag team competitor as well. So where do I think Nikki Cross is going to go? I think she's going to go to Raw because my guess is that that whole dollhouse thing with that puppet thing that's Bray Wyatt. I think that dollhouse is Nikki Cross, and Bray Wyatt and Nikki Cross are going to be a pairing. That's what I think. So overall, what are my thoughts on the shake-up for SmackDown? I say SmackDown Live won. Easy. I say SmackDown Live won the shake-up. Raw got good people, but I think SmackDown got better people. Because I think the people that they drafted are good wrestlers. The people that they drafted are good wrestlers. Not really sure about Liv Morgan, so she'll be the only one that I'll definitely be watching out for. She'll definitely be one of the people I'll be watching out for. But for improvement. But outside of that, I think SmackDown really got good picks, and Monday Night Raw they got good picks too. But honestly, I think SmackDown Live won the shake-up. So those are my thoughts on the shake-up. Those are my thoughts on all the people that were those are my opinions on all the wrestlers that were drafted over. And yeah, I hope you guys liked it. Holy cow, this video was 40 minutes long. Holy cow, that is really long. So I'll end the video here now, guys. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that thumbs up if you guys did enjoy. Comment your opinions down below. What did you think of the Superstar shakeup? Do you think the shakeup was good this year, or do you think they could have done better with it? I will agree with one thing. There will be one thing I will agree with. I wish they did bring back the draft. That is one thing I will say. Just randomly having people show up, to me, just feels a bit awkward. That is the one thing I will definitely say. But overall, the people that were drafted, I thought were good. And yeah, I'd like to hear your opinions about that as well. So yeah, thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you all in my next video.